Let's jump to China.
Yeah.
Big news, two aircraft carrier groups have moved to the South China Sea, trying to block the intentions of the Chinese Communist Party. I'm not going to call it the Chinese government; it's a Communist Party. They basically taken over Hong Kong. Taiwan is in their eyes. They've got to be stopped. I mean, I think Donald Trump was right when he said China's a problem. I don't think he's done quite as much as he said he was going to do, but that's not for here nor there. What do you think we need to do in China with China going forward? We've just seen the Chinese Communist Party sanction several of our congressional members, Rubio, Cruz, I think Smith, and someone else doesn't
Cotton.
And Cotton, for speaking their mind. They're feeding part of that cancel culture, aren't they?
Yeah, so the first thing we need to do as a people is recognize that the Chinese Communist Party represents an existential threat to the United States of America. They intend to bring us to heel, and they have no intentions whatsoever of ever being a good partner or falling in line with the rules-based order that has kind of maintained peace and stability, certainly throughout Asia, the Asia-Pacific region. So that's the first thing we need to do. Now, under President Trump, again, I was in the administration, I was in DOD, in policy, I was implementing policy on the president's behalf. So I know for a fact that this administration takes the threat of China very seriously, but not just from a military national defense sort of perspective, but also sort of a whole government national security and economic perspective as well. Now, it's the economic piece that is so insidious, because what the Chinese are doing is they are eroding us in many ways, in culturally, economically, and then reinvesting into their own military hard power capabilities. And that is something that I think a lot of Americans are not quite aware of. For example, China has access to our capital markets by listing something on the order of about 200 companies on our stock exchanges. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, the fact is that they're not subject to the same accounting rules and auditing requirements that American companies and other international companies are. So as a result, these companies, many of which are building ships, warships, missiles, satellite technology, military capabilities, they are accessing American investors, to include pension funds, and the list goes on. ETFs, if you have anything in a mutual fund, you probably have some Chinese stocks in there. And so they're accessing our capital markets, and at the same time, they're waging cyber warfare against us, informational warfare, disinformation, and so forth. It is a full, they call it unrestricted warfare. Nothing is off limits. Everything is in bounds for them. And we need to cut them off from our capital markets. We need to make sure that any U.S. companies that are doing business with China are incentivized to repatriate their manufacturing processes back to the United States, so that we can start returning some jobs to Americans, because I care about American jobs for American workers. And we need to start with critical manufacturing, for example, with pharmaceuticals.
What should we do to incentivize them to repatriate those jobs and that capital back to the United States?
Yeah, it will have to be some mix of a tax holiday or something along those lines. Here's the problem, though. Much of the money that is earned, that is carried on large corporations' balance sheets, that is earned in China, here's something most of us don't know. It cannot leave China. The Chinese will not allow those funds to leave. So as a result, their corporations are very, they're not willing to walk down that path freely or without being incentivized. Now, there's no way that I believe the American taxpayer should cover or try to match those funds, but we need to understand that there needs to be a carrot involved here in order to get these companies to bring their manufacturing processes back. Also, we need to improve our human capital, and in terms of graduating more engineers and making sure that there are the workforce is available to do what high-end manufacturers need them to do. And so that really sort of speaks to the way that we're managing our immigration system, and it also speaks to education as well.
I think clearly one of the most important aspects to the China equation is India, and having a balance in the region that can draw not only capital to India and all, but also from India, and a lot of intellectual capital, working capital, human capital to the United States to box out and show the Chinese we have other partners in the region that will be very vibrant and going forward. What are your thoughts on the Chinese and Indian conflicts that we're seeing in the Himalayas, and which are, I think, more of a smokescreen away from the naval considerations? What thoughts have you given there?
Yeah, I think you're right that India ends up being a critical partner for us in the region for a number of reasons, not just on the hard power military side, but also, as you indicated, on the manufacturing and business side as well. One of the things that we need to be aware of, though, is that the Chinese have been so skillful in infiltrating so many businesses and so many industries that even products that we receive from India, again, pharmaceutical products, end products, are many of those, and a substantial portion of those, are manufactured using active pharmaceutical ingredients that are sourced from China to begin with. So this process of disentangling ourselves and our allies from the Chinese, it's going to be a long path, but we need to start. And if we don't start now with President Trump at the helm, I don't believe that that we will ever get a better opportunity to do it, because time's running out, and the Democrats don't care, the globalists don't care, and this is something that we need to do. But India will be critical for us going forward.